it makes Trump look right. Because that hatred for him that led people to compromise their own professional principles just to ensure that he didn't win the presidency? Well, if you were willing to do that, then all of a sudden, does it not buffer his arguments about lawfare being exercised against him?
Thank you, Stephen A. Thank you. Y'all know Stephen A. my boy now. He done came across this creek, all right? And it finally came out and said what everybody should be saying if you have common sense, is that it is a absolute diabolical shame that these fools knew that Joe Biden was a dead man walking and didn't say anything. This video is brought to you by Prison Fellowship Summer Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very simple. And also, I want to thank everybody who participated. We're halfway there. We got 110 kids that are going to camp. Our goal is 250. It's super easy. But let me tell you how you can get involved and help. And this is a camp that's literally going to revolutionize these young people's lives. And these are young kids whose parents are incarcerated, no fault of their own. But Christ has called us to be the hands and feet to help other people, and this is an opportunity. $200 will help one kid go to camp, but if you don't have $200, you can still give. Give whatever God has purposed in your heart, whether it's $1, $2, $5, $10, $200, $2,000, and we're going to get to our goal. So God bless you, and thank you for the support, and we are going to allow these kids to have an incredible, incredible summer at the Prison Fellowship Summer Camp. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notification anytime I go live or make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. How many of y'all remember and like when I say let's get into this? I need to go back to that, Nick. I need to get back to the let's get into this. But until then, let's talk about Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen A. Smith, we all know have become a little more conservative. And let me say this. I don't think he's become conservative. I think it's been revealed of the values that he actually has that sounds conservative. Because I don't think that he's fully right-wing, Trump supporter, MAGA. But I do think that it's common sense that's being revealed to him to make him say the things he's saying. So let's listen to him, and I need it on my screen here. So let's listen to him give his articulation of why he criticized Jake Tapper and others for lying and literally proving Donald Trump's point that he has been under attack, and there's been a concerted effort to try to prevent him from being the president. Roll the clip.
Original Sin supposedly is highlighting how the information that was needed to be given wasn't given. That there was a concerted effort by members of the White House and beyond to hide the debilitating circumstances surrounding then President Joe Biden. Now I can speak on it myself because obviously it's an egregious thing that transpired. And I think there's a whole bunch of people that should be ashamed of themselves.
And go to jail too.
I can't wait to talk to Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson because I want to know personally. What role Jake Tapper played in not reporting on certain information. I told you I watched the interview with Megyn Kelly from start to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, she was sensational. She did a hell of a job. My point to you is that we saw it. How did Jake Tapper not see it? And as he continues to speak about all of this, where's his mea culpa? Because I don't see it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to be real interested in asking him about that when he comes on this show. The hatred for Trump was so deep that folks didn't want to report on his competition in any kind of negative way. Then if the hatred for Trump was so deep that you were willing to compromise your own professional integrity, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a pundit, a commentator, a politician, etc., I mean, damn, who are we to believe now? It makes Trump look right. Because that hatred for him that led people to compromise their own professional principles just to ensure that he didn't win the presidency? Well, if you were willing to do that, then all of a sudden, does it not buffer his arguments about lawfare being exercised against him? Does it not buffer his arguments about fake news? Does it not buffer the credibility that comes to his arguments that it was a witch hunt?
Hold on. I got to get it here. Where is the lie? Where is the diversion from what Stephen A. Smith is saying? There is none. We knew this the whole time, that they were lying and cheating and stealing and being a fool. We see it. We could watch Jake Tapper when he was, before he wrote this book or co-wrote this book or somebody ghostwrote the book, he put his name on it, or it was ghostwritten. I think that's how you say it. But before all that, we watch TV and we go, Donald Trump did not throw the stuff in a koi pond or whatever they said he did when he was out of the country. They show him dumping all that stuff in there. And then you go see the real clip, and it's like the president dumped his, and Trump just did what he did. They intentionally cropped the video. They intentionally cut out content. Listen, I see my video editors working every day. You can't accidentally do some of this stuff. You have to intentionally click. Oh, I gotta cut that. Oh, I cut it too far. I gotta cut it here. Okay, delete that. Now I gotta edit it to make sure that it end and start where it's supposed to. You gotta edge that in, do it like this, do a transition in there. That's a lot of work to be fake. And this is what they have been doing. Jake Tapper was asked, and Megyn Kelly whooped him over the head. He literally berated people that would say that Joe Biden was having an issue when Stevie Wonder can see that Joe Biden was having an issue.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You have
to watch somebody on stage search for
That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter.
Yeah,
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive
we can
decline.
See that Joe Biden
I have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel sorry for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
Let Stephen A. finish what he was saying. Roll it.
Does it not in some way buffer the notion
Yes, it does.
that somebody might have cheated him in 2020? I don't believe that last. He lost that damn.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Hold on. I was talking too good about Stephen A. for a second. Let me just point this out real quick. Everything they say and has said have all been biased, diabolical, deceptive, narcissistic in their approach to covering anything Trump has done. People keep saying Trump did not win the 2020 election. Donald Trump was cheated out of the 2020 election. Why do you say that, Brandon? There's a myriad of different reasons why a person could come to that conclusion. Just because courts didn't believe they had standing don't mean that they did not have standing, or they did not have evidence, or they didn't have nothing to present. There's two different things. And it's a good thing that our justice system has a certain burden of proof, that they don't just let anything in. So just because you don't have enough evidence to have standing, you couldn't collect enough evidence in a timely manner enough to present to a court, doesn't mean the stuff don't exist. Let me give you a couple facts real quick, just in case people are curious. There's never, I believe, in the history of presidents in this country that have gained that many more voters from 2016 to 2020, meaning in his second term as an incumbent, and didn't win the election. There's no president in United States history that won Ohio, I believe, and didn't win the election. There's no president in the United States history that won all the bellwether counties except one and didn't win the election. There's not this has never happened in the history of this country. There has never been a situation where you have a candidate like Joe Biden, who's dead, dumb, and confused, who get the most votes out of any Democrat to ever live. And then the following election, he quit. He's so terrible. And then the next candidate was like millions of votes less than him, with Donald Trump gaining leverage and momentum every year without fail. Barack Obama lost millions of votes in his second run and still won. These anomalies are not just coincidences.
I will say, Stephen, and we never got somebody that said, we should never have done this. I can't believe we did it. In retrospect, it was a mistake. How arrogant we were. I mean, even, there was a top White House aide who acknowledged to me that this short 10, 15-minute interview I did with Joe Biden in October 2022, he would not have been capable of doing in October 2023. That admission was stunning to me, but it did not come with, and we really made a mistake. We shouldn't have run him. What an error. I can't believe we did it. It didn't come with that. It came with, but we thought that he was the only one that could beat Trump, blah, blah, blah. So I think that most were telling the truth as much as they had come to terms with it themselves. But I do wonder where they will be in a year. Because, I heard from one of the people that one of the Democrats I interviewed for the book, who gave me one of the most shocking revelations. And I checked in and how are you doing? And, they're upset, but they're not upset at us. They're not upset at the book. They're just upset that it happened. And now everybody's talking about it. So I still think that I think they're still working through a lot, don't you?
Yeah, there's gradations of honesty.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth.
He's sharp, he's focused, he's bright.
I don't have any concerns, and that's from personal interactions.
This version of Biden is the best Biden ever. Not a close second.
Alert, sound.
I mean, the Republicans are good at distractions.
I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
And if the Democrats were honest, they'd admit President Biden's mental capacity is declining. 6 in 10 Americans don't have confidence in Joe Biden's mental capacity.
Then you have the liberal media told bad things about me and members of the oversight committee because we have the audacity to investigate.
Giving us their drive-by diagnoses of the President of the United States.
Congressman, what you are suggesting is that I omit portions of my reasoning and explanation to the Attorney General for political reasons.
Democrats get into a frenzy.
Do you think people close to President Biden are being honest about his mental state?
And these slip-ups kind of happen.
I mean, there should be no concern.
So I don't really care if he was off for 90 minutes and didn't put on like people wanted him to put on.
I saw no more in his declination than I've seen in anybody else.
Sharper than anyone I've spoken to.
This is a very sharp president.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
The president has no impairment.
Nobody's buying that. No. Nobody's buying what he's selling.
And the pipeline of videos that aren't telling the full truth.
All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
The same right-wing influences that are trying to take me down are trying to take down President Biden. So
Joe Biden's not the one calling the shots.
And let's look at President Biden.
People see nobody suggests he's senile, and that's disrespectful of senior people with any kind of memory disability.
We're all aware of how he's doing.
The president of Mexico, Sisi. We finally beat Medicare.
Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. You know what? I don't really care.
I'm serious.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him.
Cover-up is a very loaded term.
I don't think that there is a huge cover-up underway here.
If anybody out there gives a damn about the truth, read that interview.
Original Sin. It's about President Biden's disastrous decision to run for re-election and the cover-up of his decline.
We missed a lot of this story.
And I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline, the cover-up of his decline.
We missed a lot of this story.
If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it.
And they say I'm in good shape, okay?
And then if you don't believe that something nefarious happened, and let me just explain this real quick. Some people think about this. Lying about a presidential candidate on television is voter suppression. Now, you probably can't compile that into enough evidence to sue, but it is a part of it. When you're going out and saying he's Hitler every day, when you're going out and saying that he said there's good people on both sides, when you're going about and everything you say is negative and you're lying about his accomplishments and you're diverting from facts and reality, you are suppressing the vote. That is one of the contributing factors. The news should not have been contributing in that way. But that's one of the things they did. I saw 2,000 Mules. There's a lot of evidence there that's like, well, wait a minute. Why did they do this? Why wasn't this looked into? Why didn't they investigate this? And then you see what Stephen A is saying, where now you realize it was an effort, colluded effort by the media and by the White House and government officials And they did the same thing when Trump won in 2016 with the FBI. They colluded together to do all that they can to make sure he doesn't win. Like these things that the deep state and people are doing are real. He literally almost got killed the other day. And I think that's because it was intentional. FBI director saying they didn't put people on that roof because the slope was too high. The dude was up there, a kid was up there, got killed, and didn't slide off the building. Then the slope ain't that good. And I'm looking at the slope, and the building that the Secret Service is on is sloped higher than the other building. You lying B. Okay, let him finish.
I'm talking about him genuinely feeling cheated as opposed to knowing he's lying because, oh my God, the numbers say so. Why should he give a damn? The rest of us, yes. Why should he give a damn about them?
They cheated him, though.
You see what hatred can do? You see what an absence of objectivity?
They cheated him.
You see how the corrupt actions of a few, whether it's him and a potpourri of his lies over the years, or Democrats and the lies that they were spewing leading up to the election. You see how we all got screwed?
Yeah, that's how they cheated him.
Because now the American people are sitting here not knowing what to believe or who to believe anymore.
We know,
and then you wonder why I'm pissed.
Stephen A., I love you. We know what to believe. I'm glad you finding out. But we know, we already, go look at my videos. Stephen A., I got to get Stephen A. on my show. Stephen A., if you're watching this, go look at my videos. What were we saying 5 years ago, 4 years ago about Joe Biden? We were saying the guy, something ain't right. He's stumbling over his words. He's very different than he used to be. He's falling up and downstairs, falling off bikes. He in the lawn doing this. They like, Mr. President, this way. We got videos all over conservative media where this fool walking off he about to walk off the property. Secret Service like, this way, man. His back stiff like that. Your back ain't stiff like that unless there's something wrong with you. He half dead. We like, hey, the media, fake news media. Trump say fake news, 24 hours a day. They fake. And then now they admit it in a book how fake they are. You telling me nobody knew that Joe Biden was like this? But all of a sudden, now that Trump is in office, everybody somehow has the gumption or courage to now say something. Either they said something then and y'all didn't report on it, or y'all didn't care to pursue it until after. Ain't no way in the world, y'all, that Jake Tapper on there. And wait a minute. Joe Biden is bad. We said he was bad before he went to the debate. People were like, Joe Biden, I said he gonna die in that debate. He finna get murdered. They may as well indict Trump on it because he finna murder Joe Biden in that debate. What happened? That's all, folks. Scranton. And then Trump came out and said, I don't even think he know what he talking about in front of the whole world. And let me tell you how this happened. Don't you think it's crazy that he went off into nowhere land and then wrote an email that he resigned? You can't make a press conference, bro. That's the biggest decision in our democracy, is that a presidential candidate that got the most votes out of any president in United States history by far is dropping out of the race. How is that possible? And you send an email. You don't even do a press conference. Bro, let me say this, and I'm going to shut up. If President Trump didn't get screwed in that election, Kamala Harris would have won. How is it that she didn't win? Joe Biden was just as unpopular as Kamala Harris because him being VP with Barack Obama, the American people spoke that they wanted nothing to do with anything with that administration. That's how Barack Obama lost votes in the second term. If he had another one, he definitely wouldn't have won. He lost millions of votes. He flipped. There's like 120 counties or something that flipped. I mean, probably more than that. I think Barack Obama flipped more seats away from the Democrat Party than any president in history. He lost so many seats in his first and second term. We had the majority House, Senate, and presidency when they were done with Barack Obama. It was a rebuke of his administration. Barack Obama was incredibly unpopular. Republicans flipped every seat after he left. Then his Hillary Clinton ran. She got killed. Donald Trump wasn't even a politician. He beat the brakes off of her. So not only was Barack Obama damaged, Hillary lost. What make you think Joe Biden, who ran for office as president before a loss, who was the oldest man on planet Earth in politics, what make you think he somehow had a chance to win? They screwed it over. The mail-in ballots, that COVID stuff, we all know what happened, y'all. Just because you don't have the evidence presented to you right here, don't mean we don't know what's going on, bro. That's like saying that because what's his name? O.J. Simpson got off. We know that he killed them. He got off, right? It's not that he didn't kill him. It's that he got off for killing them. Because in our system, if you have a great defense attorney, you can get plea deals. You can get off for stuff you didn't done. Look at Diddy. Diddy, right now, I don't know where you stand, but he got a team of defense attorneys that could probably get him out for this thing. Come on, bruh. Come on, bruh. Just because you can't, and I'm not trying to compare this to God, but just because you don't physically see God don't mean there's not enough evidence that God exists, right? You look outside, you look at here, do this, evaluate context, and you realize it has to be a God. And the same thing with the elect. You look at the context about everything that's going on. You don't need to physically see the evidence 100% in one position that you can defend in court to know that's not right. Something ain't right. We did not need a diagnosis of Joe Biden to know something ain't right with him. Now, explain this to me real quick. Because we didn't have evidence that Joe Biden was a dead man walking, does that mean he wasn't a dead man walking? Because the evidence is now prevalent after he's out of office, don't mean that he wasn't sick while he was there. They lied to us and deceived us and didn't present it to us. But the man was sick then, just as well as he's sick now. It's the same thing with the election. I guarantee you in 15, 20 years from now, there's going to be a whole documentary on how Donald Trump was cheated at the election. I guarantee you it will be. But while he's alive, nobody's doing it. 10, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, there'll be a whole documentary. And then we're going to look back and be like, see, like the CIA killed Kennedy. Like, remember when that was a conspiracy theory? Now we know that's what happened. Just stay tuned. That's all I'm saying. Just stay tuned. When you hear something and you think it's a conspiracy, look, there's no evidence. You just wait a minute. Don't let people deceive you from what you actually see. We know these Democrats are evil. We know what they did in 2020. We knew that Biden was in trouble. We knew that Donald Trump was incredibly popular. He should have won the presidency, and he did this time. We knew. Believe your eyes. Don't believe these lies from these Democrats. All right. I didn't say it enough. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. I may have you on the show, man, but he did get cheated in the election, just so you know. I just want to, you'll get it one day. I'm out.